Hello everyone, so you're thinking about moving to Oklahoma City and you're trying to get a general sense of the layout of this place and also the surrounding suburbs. As in, where's all the important stuff located? Well, beyond that, you probably like to know how best to get around town, maybe where the major attractions and points of interest are, and you'd love to hear probably some important little tidbits that a newcomer might benefit from. Things like really only a lifelong native like myself might know. Some valuable local knowledge, maybe some inside information, if you will. By the way, speaking of suburbs, I just posted a video on the top 5 suburbs here in Oklahoma City. You can check it out here. Okay, so today's your lucky day, because in this video I'm going to do something a little different and take you on a whirlwind interactive map tour of this place. An overview, if you will, of this place I've called home for a long time, and answer a lot of your questions that you may have. After we're finished, I think you'll be better informed about a lot of key information about Oklahoma City and have a little more insight as to whether or not this place might be a good place for you to call home. On that note, let me introduce myself. My name's Lynn Taggart. I'm a local Coldwell Banker realtor serving the Oklahoma City and Edmond area, and I help folks just like you find the perfect home here in central Oklahoma. As I mentioned, I'm a lifelong resident of this place, and I'd love the opportunity to answer any questions you may have about the area if you're thinking about moving here. I'm sure you have a million questions before you take the leap. I know I would. If you'd like to chat either via phone, text, or email, my contact information is shown down in the description box below. Also, could you do me a huge favor and hit that like and subscribe button if you think the content I'm putting out is valuable? It really helps the channel out, and I would greatly appreciate the kind gesture. Okay, so let's get started and head over to the computer and get this interactive map tour started. Okay, so this is a map of Oklahoma City. You can see I had to zoom way out because Oklahoma City is really big. I've talked about this in other videos before, but I'll mention it again. We have the Oklahoma City city limits is about 620 square miles. Pretty big. And that puts us as the 8th largest city in terms of just square miles in the United States. We are the 20th in terms of population, but 8th in terms of size. And you can see it on this map. I mean, there's just a lot of area to cover. And for that reason, unfortunately, anybody that's thinking about moving here, and I hope you are, and I know a good realtor, by the way, that you need to be aware that, and I've talked about this in some of my other videos, that to live here and to get around and to live your life, you're going to need a car, unfortunately. So it's just a fact of life. So, and we don't have a light rail system here. So one of the things I wanted to cover in this real quick, we're going to talk about some of the suburbs. We're going to talk about some of the roadways. We're going to talk about some of the where the colleges and universities are. Also where some of our hospitals are, and if time permits, we'll talk about some of our major points of interest. So first of all, let's talk about suburbs. Edmond, kind of the top of the list in terms of amenities, school systems, just a pretty affluent area. Heading to the west, we have Piedmont. Piedmont was a rural farming community, but it's growing like crazy. Lots of young families moving into Piedmont. Swinging around to the west, we have Yukon. And then down south here we have Mustang, Moore, and then all the way down here south is Norman. By the way, I mentioned not necessarily Piedmont because it's kind of an honorable mention, but all the rest of these 5, I mentioned I had a video I put out on the top 5 suburbs in Oklahoma City, and these 5 all made the list. So just be advised, check out that video if you have time. So other suburbs around, let's start down here south. We have Newcastle. Heading around to the east, we have Midwest City, Del City. Obviously Midwest City is home of Tinker Air Force Base, and a big employer in Oklahoma City is Boeing. And then swinging on around here to the east, we have Choctaw, we have Nakoma Park, we have Spencer, we have Arcadia, we have Luther. And then within the confines of Oklahoma City proper, we have several little townships have been incorporated, including Bethany and War Acres and the Village. And one thing about this one right here is called Nichols Hills. Nichols Hills is kind of old money lives in Oklahoma City. This is the most affluent part of Oklahoma City. It's the oldest. It's been around a long, long time. Word of the wise, do not speed through Nichols Hills because you will end up visiting with the Nichols Hills Police Department, and it's probably going to cost you. So just a little tip. Not that I know anything about that, but just a little pro tip. So anyway, these are all the suburbs in Oklahoma City. Obviously, there's a lot. And, that's, a lot that's good, but it's also bad in that you have a lot of choices, and then, where do you want to live? That's why I tried to narrow it down when I did the top 5 suburbs on the why I picked those. But obviously it's great that you have choices, and we have a lot of them here in Oklahoma City. All right, so how do you get around? I mentioned a car. Well, here in Oklahoma City, let's start with the ones you have to pay for, the tollways. And that's the Turner Turnpike, which turns into something we call the Kilpatrick Turnpike, which heads down south and eventually joins into I-240. I live up here right in this area right here. And I use this thing all the time, too much really. My Pike Pass bill reflects that, which is the electronic payment method. And so this gets used a lot. And there's also turnpikes that then head down off of H.E. Bailey, heads to the southwest towards Lawton. But I use these a lot. And it's just really nice to be able to hop on there and get to where you need to go really quick. But at a price. So some of the other areas, the other roadways that are major, obviously in Oklahoma City, is Interstate 35, coming right down here. Kind of separates east and west Oklahoma City. And then the east-west route corridor is I-40. And that kind of separates Oklahoma City into the northwest, northeast, southeast, and southwest quadrants. One of the things, just a little tip here, in Oklahoma City, anything that's necessarily south of Interstate 40, typically referred to as south side of Oklahoma City, and anything north of Interstate 40 is referred to as north side. Just be advised that. So not a big deal. That's just how we refer to different parts of Oklahoma City. All right. So one of the other things I wanted to mention just real quickly while we got this big map up here is all the lakes in Oklahoma City. So here's Lake Arcadia to East Edmond. It's a Corps of Engineers project, lake that was formed many years ago. We have Lake Hefner right here. As a kid, I grew up right in here, right just south of Lake Hefner. So know all about Lake Hefner. We have Lake Overholser, my Bethany, just east of Yukon. Down to the east of Moore, we have Lake Stanley Draper, and then far east of Norman, we have Lake Thunderbird, affectionately known as Lake Dirty Bird, because it seems like it's always dirty. The water's really muddy. So those are some of the major lakes that are in the area, and a lot of people take advantage of that here in Oklahoma City. So one of the things besides the streets, besides the major highways that I wanted to point out is, get this off of here, is that we do have one street that's kind of a major artery that it's been around forever and ever and ever, and that is May Avenue. It comes right down through here. And that's kind of the main artery in Oklahoma City, main reference point, if you will. And then east-west, and it's not necessarily an interstate, but actually it does turn into an interstate, but it's 39th Expressway, we call it. Which, by the way, 39th Expressway is part of the old Route 66. And if you're into the history and nostalgia and Americana, I mean, there you go, right there. Is Route 66. It cuts through and then kind of heads off towards Yukon, El Reno, and points west. But anyway, just a note that that's here. And at Oklahoma City, is mentioned in the song, get your kicks on Route 66, right? Oklahoma City is part of that, so part of the story. So one of the other things I want to talk about real quick is the hospitals that we have here in Oklahoma City. for those that are in the healthcare profession. So down here in Norman, we have, working south to north, we have Norman Regional Hospital. We have here just north of Oklahoma City, we have St. Anthony's Hospital right in here, this part. And just east of downtown, we have the OU Health Sciences Center. This is Norman Regional. This is OU Health Sciences. This is St. Anthony's. And then up here, let me get this off of here. This is going to confuse you. We also have a major hospital complex, and that is right here. That's Integris. And do this right here. There's St. Anthony's. And then up here on the Kilpatrick Turnpike, we have another large hospital, and that's Mercy. And then one of the things also that's present right up in here is an orthopedic hospital called McBride Clinic. And I've had some work done there myself, my joints here on my shoulder. So, and then these, Mercy and Integris, have satellite locations all throughout the metro, satellite hospitals. So, but the major complexes are as shown on Northwest Expressway and on the Memorial Parkway next to the Kilpatrick Turnpike. So, if you're in the healthcare profession, we have a lot of facilities here in the metro Oklahoma City area. All right, so real quickly, I want to talk about just the colleges. Down here, we have my alma mater is OU, which can't help myself, sorry. And then we have regional colleges. We have a community college here called Oklahoma City Community College. We have Mid-American Christian University. We have Oklahoma City University, private school, very expensive. Southwestern Christian are here in Bethany. And then we have Southern Nazarene, which has been around a long time, church affiliated, obviously. And then up in Edmond, we have the University of Central Oklahoma, UCO, we call it. And the OU and UCO are two public schools. The rest are private. But we have a lot to pick from. If you're interested in higher education in Oklahoma City in particular, we have a lot to pick from. So let's get this all off here. So I have a little bit of time, so I'll quickly touch on just some attractions around town. I mentioned Route 66. Right up here is the round barn you've maybe heard about. And then we have right next to it is Pops, kind of a neat little architectural building, really neat facility. They serve over 600 brands of soda pop. And then on Interstate 35 right up here, we have right in this area, we have a place called Frontier City. It's owned by Six Flags. On Interstate 40 down here, we have Six Flags also owns a water park called Hurricane Harbor. And then for those of us that are so inclined that likes country and western and likes the western culture, got to head over to Stockyard City down here in downtown Oklahoma City. I'll cover that here in just a second in more detail, but National Stockyards are right down here. And the Oklahoma State Fair is right here, and the State Fair actually starts next week here in Oklahoma City. That's one of the largest attractions in the state every year. That's pretty much it. Oh, one other thing is we have the National Cowboy Hall of Fame, which is a can't miss. You got to see this if you're coming to town. It's a great place, and there's lots to see and do. All right, so real quickly here, let's see how much time I got. That's pretty much it for now. I'm going to do a video at a later date on everything going on in downtown Oklahoma City, all the activities, and what there is to do and see. This video is getting a little long, so I appreciate you sticking around and checking all this out. I like this new tool, and I hope you do too. So let's head back to the studio. So there you have it, a whirlwind tour of the Oklahoma City area. a general 35,000-foot view of the Oklahoma City Metroplex. Hopefully you found this little exercise useful and informative. Let me know in the comments below if you like me using this new smartboard telestrator technology. I know from a content creator standpoint, it allows me to provide some really useful color commentary, beyond just looking at a boring old map or a photo. In future videos, we'll use it to take a deep dive into some of the suburbs around Oklahoma City using this new tool. Be on the lookout for those. In the meantime, you would do me a huge favor by smashing the like and subscribe buttons. It keeps me motivated to continue putting out content for you to use in your decision-making process about moving to this little slice of heaven I've called home for a long time. But more importantly, it lets the YouTube algorithm know that the content I'm creating, which I try to do every week by the way, is appreciated and useful to my audience. And please share my channel with anyone that you know who might be contemplating a move to the Sooner State. I would greatly appreciate that as well.